England come out here and match that power play, 74 for 2 Australia. Just got absolutely owned, England, inside those first 5, as you mentioned, Athers. So it's got to be about quality character here, standing right up to this challenge. Australia are going to bring it. There's no question. These two nations, when they go head-to-head, it is all fire.
Well, Phil Salt, who spent a lot of time on this island as a young man, grew up here for a number of years. He was on this ground, actually, when England, with Owen Morgan alongside me, when they won the World T20 against Australia in 2010. Phil Salt was in the crowd and now finds himself facing up to Mitchell Starc, who will bowl from the Ghana end with a helping breeze. And this should be absolutely fascinating. Here he comes. There is that swing. He was right on the money there, first ball. Phil Salt is going to get 4 runs. It was a kind of thickish inside edge. My, it was honing into his big toe, though, at one stage.
Well, either side won't mind this. Australia, the ball is swinging. England, without loss, let's just say, have opened their account. Both laughing. Be relief from Phil Salt.
Oh, that was a fantastic delivery. But it's leaked to boundary, and Salt and England are up and running. I think it's just about all right. He went for the full ball again, but it didn't swing on this occasion, just pushed it across Phil Salt. Josh Buttler has a decent record against Mitchell Starc in particular. All the sides look at the matchups these days, and the numbers are in Butler's favour. Which is not to say that that's how it will go, but that's how it has gone. And Buttler, of course, such an important player for England at the top of the order.
Well, England will be thinking, who can I get 22 off? That Jack's over, the second of the day, got punished. But you've got to have at least one huge over inside those first 6. Who's that going to be? Who's the most favourable matchup?
Yeah, I think it's spot on, Haydos. I think past that as well. Got to create that partnership, allow that platform, and how they go about it is the most important thing. To learn a little bit from Australia, show that courage to take on risk as early as possible. If you get away, just continue on risk to put bowlers under pressure.
Angle, no swing this time. Buttler just fencing and feeling for the ball outside the off stump. That he's got a good matchup against Starc. He's got a pretty good matchup against Josh Hazlewood as well. It's tidy numbers in Butler's favour.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that record right there. Look at that strike rates. It just means he's got to bring all of that, bring that wisdom. There was 6 sixes inside that first 6. Say that.
You got there eventually with a bit of a stumble, if I might say.
Jeez. Yeah. It's a slip of the tongue. And actually it was the wrong stat anyway, because it was 7 sixes, so I could have saved myself an extra 6 in the troublesome 6s.
Well, it was the second and fourth overs that were so damaging for England. 22 off both. Of course, the left-handers at the top of the order for Australia, so very different to England, who may target the first, third and fifth to the short side. This swings down the leg side and England will pick up a wide.
Excellent work from Matthew Wade. Does an incredible job here. 2 standing umpires today, Joel Wilson. Square leg, Nitin Menon. Vastly experienced.
tidy first over from Mitchell Starc. 6 from it. Things got a little heated towards the end of... And it will be Hazelwood now to try and back up that decent first over from Mitchell Starc. He's bowling to Phil Salt.
You know, it's like when you've got this sort of run rate required from the get-go, it means it has to be the perfect run chase. You cannot have 3 or 4 wickets down inside the power play, but then you've got to take a chance as well. Got to find that happy medium somehow. Mediate between risk and reward.
Yeah, and understanding the ebb and flow of the game and how the run chase will happen from England's point of view if they're getting over the line. Have to have a substantial amount of runs in that first period of the game. So the wicket will continue to slow up once that ball gets older.
And that has just kept a little low. It is a dry surface. The pitches here at the Kensington Oval have generally helped the bowlers. They've been a little bit up and down, and when the bowlers have bowled cutters, the ball has gripped, and for the spinners, signs here of the ball just dying off the surface.
Yeah, and the dry wicket, Athers, has meant that those little cracks have just been moving a little bit. That's where you get the variation as well. So from a batting and power hitting point of view, you're behind the 8 ball immediately.
Butler gets it away behind square and just relieves a bit of pressure that was building. He gets off the mark with a 4 just behind point.
Yeah, first sign of aggression. Either openers. Don't see Butler do this that often. Does it against the slower bowlers, but not early on. It's been something he has been working on, just to try and put the likes of Hazelwood off that line and length, take him away from his strength, and it has forced a change in the field.
Yeah, Starc has come up inside the circle at a short third, and there's a deep point now in place. Butler clips and times it nicely. Tim David should cut it off. Well, the importance of this game, you can have a look at the points table, which will tell you all, because Scotland are top with 3 points. That washout and then the win against Namibia is a costly washout as far as England were concerned, which is not to say that they would have chased the target that had been set by Scotland, but it does put a little bit of extra focus and pressure on this game now. Gets it wide of mid-wicket. This will be 4 more.
Really good batting from Butler, forcing the change from Hazelwood, both in the field and then pace off. Forces Butler just to play through the leg side. If the pace was on, he might have targeted straighter down the ground. Well played, well controlled, gets the boundary.
Another change to the field. Second man behind square just goes to short fine now. England's fixtures remaining against Oman and Namibia as they move to Antigua tomorrow. Two gone. England 18 for none. It was an Ireland game here in 1998. Now, what's the delay? Not happy with a sticker on the back of Jos Buttler's bat. Happy now, so Starc will get a second. May still find some swing. The ball is new, the breeze is good.
Yeah, and I think this will be the over that Butler in particular looks to target. The matchup is right, hitting downwind to the short side.
And where Australia, talking of targeting, were very, very smart, as they did use both the dimensions of the ground to their advantage, but also the breeze. I dare say that 7 of those 6s were hitting with the breeze. So Ken Butler, against a swinging ball, somehow managed to find a way through his onside with the breeze, using the pace.
Yeah, there was just one, wasn't there, hit by Travis Head down the ground. The rest, as you say, were all hammered to the short side. It's just a question of strategy and tactics, trying to be smart about how you bowl. So Seamers from the Marshall end here, the commentary box end, bowling to the long side. They're obviously going to bowl quite straight. Bowling from the Garner end, though, to the short side, they're going to try and hide the ball outside the off stump and protect the short side. And that's the end that Mitchell Starc is bowling from now. High it goes, and Phil Salt has not moved. He knows from the moment that ball left the bat that it was going for 6. It's straight into the Hall and Griffith.
Well, it's only a chip for the likes of Phil Salt. Like we have mentioned, downwind to the shortened side. The ball does swing. Salt doesn't try and overhit it, and that is enormous. 106 metres. All the way into the top tier.
It was enormous also in terms of what you were talking about before, Morgan, about the ebbs and flows of the game. There needed to be some destruction in this power play. Needed to put pressure on Starc.
He went for the Yorker. It was a little too straight. Matthew Wade cleans up.
He gets it, and gets it well. Just swinging straight into the slot. Trying for a miracle ball and didn't get it.
Just to emphasise the point, we've had 14 sixes in this match now, and 10 of those have gone to that short side, to the Greenwich and Haynes stand side. That's why Starc tries to hide that ball outside the off stump. Increasingly, as we get through this innings, that's what you'll see from the bowlers bowling from the Garner end. As those supporters come into the ground, they go past the Gary Sobers statue, which is just in front of the main entrance to the Kensington Oval. He's here today, the great man. Fantastic to see him. Well, there's not much margin for error. Make the point that they're trying to hide the ball, but if you push it too wide and you'll get punished.
Yeah, quite a conscious effort from Butler to come more to the offside. Previously, when he's faced Starc, today has shown his stumps. It forces Mitchell Starc to go further away, trying to get him to hit through the offside.
Butler goes this time. He doesn't hit it quite as well as Phil Salt, but there's more runs here. It's another boundary. I think it might have just gone for 6 as well. Just waiting for the umpire to check it. We'll take a look at the replay. I'm fairly certain it just went over the rope. No, just one bounce into it. But it's a good over for England. The 6 from Salt, now a 4 from Butler to complete it. $31 for none. Slower ball from Hazelwood.
Well, Butler getting in on the action, applying pressure to Mitchell Starc. The matchup is in his favour. Both players will know this, so if you can throw the first punch and apply pressure early in the over, you can then capitalise towards the back end by reading what the bowler is trying to do and countering it.
Yeah, now we see the opposite. Shots have been fired, but it's been misfired. So batsmen now under pressure. 2 balls, feels like 20 overs in Test match cricket. It's just the game just keeps coming at you. England doing a good job not losing batting resources, but they know the eye on the ball is that 70 mark that Australia got. Hence the pressure.
Second man goes out to the leg side. He's a real dasher, is Phil Salt at the top of the order. He's the one who tends to make the running in this opening partnership. And he cuts that away, and powerfully so, behind square.
Brilliant shot. Great awareness from Phil Salt. Very little width on offer here, but it's the length that allows him to create the shot through the offside. It's what Australia did so well. Didn't get preoccupied with one side or target one side of the boundary.
It's a really tricky psychological thing when you know you've got to score so quickly to get just locked into one game plan. Especially when you've got a breeze on your back towards the smaller side. You just think, I've got to go there, but you're only as good as being able to stand and deliver, watch the ball, take the extra time. Those milliseconds can mean everything in spotting the ball out of the hand and reacting accordingly.
Gets it away again behind square. It was shorter into the surface. The change that Australia have made in this over hasn't really worked for them. They brought deep point in, posted another man out to deep mid-wicket, but that has allowed Salt to pick it away behind square twice for 4 now.
Yeah, and it's going to force another field change. Well, back to the original plan, which I think is the right one, because it simply makes Phil Salt hit a cross-batted shot on a wicket where it's not necessarily bouncing through consistently, too paced.
Four overs done, England have 40. Got the breakthrough swinging that new white ball, so Cummins now comes on for the 5th, and England, I think, will eye up this over. Often you think of the last over of the power play as being the one where you might go on the charge, but I think it will be this one now, the 5th to the fresh bowler, and it's Cummins and Salt on strike. It's a good start, a good Yorker from Cummins, and Salt will just pick up a couple to deep cover, and Warner fast across the ground as ever. Graceful, stylish, and brilliant. And still going strong. And great to see Wes Hall next to Gary. Carves it away over extra cover. It's Warner giving chase again and does brilliantly.
Well, that's back-to-back for Davey Warner, who's defying age. Have a look at this for a great piece of athletic ability and the pure desire to try and win games of cricket for your country. He's literally run 50 metres there. It's just a great sprint around, diving effort, one hand, knocks it back in. Superb, Davey Warner. You've been good with the bat, now you bring it with the field.
Keep breathing, Davey. It's another good Yorker. Well, he's always in the action, David Warner, out in the deep at the moment, but at the start of the day he got Australia off to a real flyer. He was absolutely brilliant, targeting that short side. He came out all guns blazing. First 5 or 6 overs, England were very rattled.
Pat Cummins has been a revelation with his T20 bowling over the last few months. He's really mastered his art, operating into that kind of 8-metre zone, taking pace off the ball. Something that he's completely opposite in when it comes to the longer formats of the game, where he just is metronomical in the way that he holds his lines and lengths in that sort of top of off stump zone, but not in T20 cricket. He's mastered it.
Been a very good over. I mentioned that this was the over that England would have been targeting in the power play, but a combination of Yorkers and wide balls outside the off stump have done it so far. A wide Yorker, and it gets carved away by Phil Salt. He was slightly overpitched on this occasion.
And that is the margin for error, going full pace on this wicket. So in the first innings, pace off deliveries being the most effective. Cummins just straying in line and in length. Phil Salt capitalising.
Changing the field almost every delivery now between them, Cummins and Marsh. That's a pretty good over from Pat Cummins, just 8 from it, 48 for none from 5.
Tasked with bowling the last over of the power play. Aaron Finch, nearly a fielding change every single delivery of that Pat Cummins over.
Yeah, and there has been right throughout, and at times when you've got a boundary so short on one side, a lot of the times it'll be purely as a bluff towards the batsman, just so they have to think about something else. You don't become too predictable. It's been a wonderful partnership to start. Got England well and truly in the game.
Up and over, doesn't quite middle it. Joss Buttler doesn't need to though with that short boundary. Pressure on Stoinis.
The 6th over is often so vital in setting up the middle phase of a game. With bat or ball, Joss Buttler taking the aggression to Marcus Stoinis. It's a good option because there's no man out patrolling the offside. It's the shortest boundary, it's with the wind.
50 partnership up between these two, and they know it's going to get harder as well. Out the power play, fielders will go out, pace will come off.
Stoinis follows Buttler this time as it's squirted down to fine leg. It's Zampa. Marcus Stoinis in the last 10 T20 internationals, 234 runs at 39, 14 wickets at 13. He's in a purple patch at the moment, and that is why he's probably bowling this last important over to try and break this partnership. 53 from 35 between two of the most impactful players in T20 world cricket. Yep, using the pitch. That's what England took a little while to figure out, but once they did, just peg things back a bit. And this was Marcus Stoinis the other night with the ball. This is off the half century as well. Got some tough overs when Oman were trying to create yet another upset in this ICC T20 Men's World Cup. He's hovering around that good length for most of his spell, but had good change-ups as well.
That's the length you need to be on a wicket like this. Once you're into the surface, there's enough up and down.
A hit could be interesting. And there'll be moments in this match you feel, you just sort of sense that with such a big target on the board. There will be opportunities for run-outs.
It was quick. Phil Salt back comfortably. There's confusion. Yeah, exactly right, Mel. 1 dot ball builds pressure. 2 dot balls, you start to grip the bat a little bit tighter.
Wade diving to his right. We're just going to wait here. Looks like it's the end of the power play. Matthew Wade doing exceptionally well, 54 for none.